What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Simply Sports here now. You probably wouldn't believe it if I didn't tell you, but the Olympics has only been on a week. And it feels like it has been on for maybe 3 weeks, and we have 2 more weeks left to go. It has been quite the controversy ever since that opening ceremony to basketball and JT being benched by Steve Kerr and Coco Gauff a few days ago with the questionable calls that cost her match. It has just been making headlines every which way. But the biggest headline thus far has been the fight that took place yesterday between Algerian fighter Imane Khelif and Italian fighter Angela Carini. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because it has stirred up the controversy of transgender men and women competing against people who are biologically male and female in sports. Now, according to the IOC, Imane Khelif is a woman. She was born a woman, has always been a woman, has competed in boxing as a woman. So this is not a transgender case. I'm going to play a clip from what the IOCs had to say, defending their choice, and then we'll get back into it.
Many women can have testosterone, which is in what would be called male levels, and still be women and still compete as women. So this panacea, this idea that suddenly you do one test for testosterone and that sorts everything out, not the case, I'm afraid.
Now, the IBA did speak out. They did not give any details or specifics regarding what test it was exactly that turned up the XY chromosomes. We do know that there was some sort of diagnosis of her biology that was taken, but we don't know specifics. They did, however, in fact, stand by their decision to ban Imane Khelif from competing in the 2023 World Championships and can't understand how the Olympic Committee would allow Imane Khelif to compete against a biological woman in yesterday's boxing match.
A concern raised by both coaches and boxers. Indeed, our medical committee at the time had also had concerns. And so it was at that point that the chair of the IBA medical committee intervened and said, look, we need to apply these tests correctly, and we go from there. But of course, end state to that is that these two boxers are not allowed to box within IBA. So I find it remarkable how the IOC apply a different condition.
Now, I realize that this might be a bit confusing and hard to follow if you're like me and science was not your subject, but I thought it was important that you hear from both sides and get a sense of both perspectives regarding the situation. Now, for me, I did not think prior to today that it was possible for a woman to be born a woman and in fact still have XY chromosomes. So I did a little research on Google, don't judge me, and this is what came up. Now, there's something called androgen insensitivity syndrome, which can cause complete or partial insensitivity to androgens. Now, complete insensitivity can make a person with XY chromosomes a female, while partial insensitivity can result in some people being male or female. I know, right? I've never heard this a day in my life. Something else I saw was something called Sire syndrome, and it's a rare intersex condition that affects development. Now, people with Sire syndrome can have XY chromosomes and still have female external genitalia. However, their ovaries and testes are not functional. You guys, I'm not making this up. Google for yourself. If Imane Khelif does in fact suffer from something like this, I'm not saying that she does, but if that is the case, then what does that mean for her or anyone like her who is an athlete competing in sports? If you are biologically born a man, how are you competing against women in sports? You're naturally stronger. In fact, when it comes to boxing, and according to some reports written in the Journal of Experimental Biology, men hit 2.6 times harder than women. So if you are a transgender male competing in women's sports, how transgender woman, excuse me, how is it possible that you are competing in the ring with someone who is a biologically a woman? It's simply not fair. You are stronger. Now, where do we go from here? I don't know if there is a meeting of the minds with this, because if you're transgender, you are simply not biologically a male or a female. Now, I'm not going to tell anyone who is transgender that they should feel any differently. Everyone is entitled to feel how they feel. But when it comes to sports, it is an unfair advantage. if you are biologically a male competing against women. It just simply is. So what do you guys think regarding this whole thing? Who's right here? The IBA? Is it the IOC? What do you think? Let me know in those comments. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.